Hi everybody, I'm Gethin Ellis of gethinellis.com, and in this short video today I'm going to show you how to install SQL Server 2017 Release Candidate 1. We have downloaded and mounted our SQL Server 2017 ISO, you can see that there. I'm going to double click on the setup icon and we're going to wait for SQL Server setup to start. I'm going to drop down, I'm going to click on the installation tab. There's a whole bunch of tabs on here you can utilize. Just for a simple installation of SQL Server, I'm going to click on the installation tab. And then I'm going to click on a new SQL Server standalone installation. Okay, or I can add a feature to an existing install. Other options here are install reporting services, install management studio, I can install data tools. These actually take you off to the web to download the components for those. You can do a SQL Server failover cluster install, you can add a node to a SQL Server failover cluster, and you can do an upgrade from a previous version as well. Okay, and we've got the new machine learning server here as well, and we'll have a look at that in another video. So I'm going to click on the new SQL Server standalone installation, and we'll wait while setup runs. This is the release candidate 1, so there's no license involved here. I'm just going to choose the developer edition of release candidate 1, see what that does. Click on next. Accept the license terms. Click on next. A rule check will then run. Once that completes, we will specify whether we want to utilize Microsoft Update or not. So we'll check for important updates. Says it's recommended. Generally I leave that off. I will do the updates myself at a convenient time. The install setup files then run. Anything update, if there's an update for SQL Server, gets included here. We have got a warning on the install rules around a firewall. This server currently has the Windows firewall installed. Therefore, if I try to connect to it remotely, I will get into errors unless I punch a hole in the firewall to let SQL Server communicate with the outside world. I'm going to accept that warning for now and click on next. Then I'm going to choose the features that I want to install. So I want the database engine and I want replication. I'm going to leave machine learning services in database with R and Python there. Okay, leave those as is. I'm going to look at some of the shared features. SQL client tools connectivity. I want, what else do I want on here? That'll probably be okay for the time being. I don't want master data services. I don't want any of the distributed replay stuff. I'm going to leave integration services alone in the machine learning, so I'm just going to install the database engine and the client tools connectivity options selected there. Okay, we get to choose the root directory. Now in this particular case everything's going to the C drive. If you install SQL Server on something other than the C drive, you get to specify that there. Click on next. Okay, we'll wait a few Microsoft seconds for some additional rules to be checked. Okay, we're in good shape. We can now configure our instance. We've got the option of a default or a named instance. If we choose the default instance, we will connect to SQL Server using the machine name. In this case, it's SQL 2017. Otherwise, we can specify a named instance, and if we use a named instance, we will connect to the SQL Server using a combination of the machine name and the instance name. I'm going to leave mine as default for the time being. I'm going to click next. And we'll get onto the server configuration tab. And on this tab we've got a couple of options like what service accounts the SQL Server services would run as, and because we're only installing the database engine, we've got the SQL Server agent and the database engine to worry about. For the agent, you can specify a separate domain account if you want to. Okay, give it the least amount of permissions that it needs to run. Same for the database engine. I'm actually going to leave mine as the default here, but if you wanted to change those to a domain account or a managed service account, you can do. Okay, if you're using a domain account, you need to specify a password. You can specify whether you want to do whether you want the service to start manually or automatically. By default, the SQL Server database engine will start automatically, and the agent will require a manual start. So if the server reboots, the agent won't start back up. You have to go and start it yourself. I'm going to switch mine to automatic. Then you get to grant perform volume maintenance task privileges. This is in SQL Server 2017. In previous versions, I don't think this option has been available. What this will do, it'll allow SQL Server to do instant file initialization. So when it's growing or performing operations on the database files, it'll do it much quicker. It doesn't have to zero out the files on the drive. It can just expand and take up that space. So I'm going to check that. Okay. Generally, I do that on all my SQL servers, and I've done for a very long time. It's just you didn't have the option to do it in the installation. Sorry, let me just go back one. The collation tab, you get to specify the collation of the database engine. Okay, I'm going to accept the default there, but there's you can change that if you need to. For most sort of Western Europe and sort of North American type languages, the default is fine. However, if you're sort of using an Asian based language, then maybe you might need a different collation there. So I'm going to accept those settings and click on next. The database engine configuration tab here, okay, we get to choose the authentication mode for our SQL Server. Again, this can be changed later on. We get to choose whether we're going to use Windows authentication or a combination of SQL Server and Windows authentication in mixed mode. I'm going to click mixed mode, okay, in which case we have to enter a password for the SA account. So I'm going to put a password in there so I can connect using SA if I wish. Generally, if I can, I will stick to Windows authentication, and I'm going to click on add current user. This will give my current Windows account system administrator privileges on the SQL Server as well. The data directories tab at the top, we get to choose the default location for our user databases and our backup directory. Okay, so if we had separate volumes, separate drives, separate LUNs for our database file, we can specify where we want the default location for our data files, for our log files, and where any backups get put. Okay. TempDB might have its own set of drives, and you might want to create multiple TempDB data files depending on the workload of your TempDB. You can now specify this during setup as well. Previously, you would have to have gone and made a configuration change to SQL Server to support this. You can specify the number of files and the initial size to start with. Again, I'm going to specify or accept the default here, but just be aware you can change the number of files and the initial size of those when they start and what they auto grow by as well. The file stream tab is where we enable file streaming. I don't want file streamable enabled yet, but we'll come back to that later on should we need it. I'm going to click on next. We get to the ready to install page. It gives us a summary of what we're going to be installing on SQL Server. We can have a quick read through here. It tells us what we're going to be doing. It also gives us a path to the configuration file. If I wanted to install another SQL Server with identical settings, I could utilize this configuration file to make all the same options as I've just picked running through the wizard. So if you're deploying and installing a lot of SQL servers, it's going to be a really handy tool to help you quickly install SQL Server afterwards. We will look at that in another video. I'm going to click install, and the install will run, and we will wait. So here's where I go and get a cup of tea. And there we have it. Install completed. Thank you for watching. I'm Gethin Ellis. Subscribe to the channel to get notifications on future videos, and don't forget to check out the website as well, gethinellis.com.